exclusively respond is Democratic Congresswoman Ilhan Omar of Minnesota. Congresswoman, thanks for being here. So I want to obviously start with those comments, Boebert comparing you to a terrorist suicide bomber. What is it like to hear that kind of blatant bigotry, blatant Islamophobia coming from a fellow elected member of the House of Representatives?
It's shocking and unacceptable. And, you know, it's very unbecoming of a congresswoman to use that kind of derogatory, dangerous, inciting language against a colleague. Many of us thought, you know, post 9/11 that we were on the mends. When I first won, I remember getting phone calls from across the world from heads of states and prime ministers and foreign ministers congratulating me because they thought that America was past its sort of post 9/11 Islamophobia. And to see this happen right now in the halls of Congress really is damaging, not just to the Muslim community, to myself, but to the kind of country we want to be.
So Republican leader Kevin McCarthy has still not publicly condemned Boebert's comments. On Friday, he was asked, why not? Take a listen to what he said.
She apologized publicly. She apologized personally. She wanted to meet personally. Denied the ability to meet personally. When she picked up the phone and she called Congresswoman Omar, she said, I want to personally apologize to you. And that's what she did.
Now, to be clear, after her conversation with you, Boebert went on social media and doubled down and said things that were equally incendiary.
Yeah, I mean,
what's your reaction to McCarthy and how he described it?
Yeah, McCarthy is a liar and a coward. He doesn't have the ability to condemn the kind of bigoted Islamophobia and anti-Muslim rhetoric that are being trafficked by a member of his
Why doesn't he have the ability to do
that? Because this is who they are. And we have to be able to stand up to them, and we have to push them to reckon with the fact that their party right now is normalizing anti-Muslim bigotry.
We should point out that there are some members of the Republican House caucus, Nancy Mace, Tom Reed, Adam Kinzinger, Fred Upton, I believe, reached out to you, who have condemned the remarks. But that's 4 out of hundreds. Most of the House...
And they are being attacked.
They're being attacked for
condemning it, which tells you that their conference condones this. And that's why it's dangerous, because people across the world, not just in the United States, are seeing this, and they are worried. As you know, Islamophobia is on the rise. And as many people have reached out to me about my safety, I remind them that this isn't about me. This is about all of the young girls across this country who wear the hijab so proudly, who are afraid for their lives.
It's deplorable. And we should note, and I'll spare you the sound bites, but this is not the first time that Congresswoman Boebert has targeted you with these bigoted comments. Any number of examples. She's called you a terrorist, black-hearted, evil. It's not a one-off joke to her. This isn't just one errant moment. This is a pattern. What do you think Nancy Pelosi and Democratic leaders should do, if anything, about this?
Yeah. I think of the most dangerous thing that she has recently said is that we have a problem in Congress because there's a terrorist. And I think once you sort of invoke that kind of language, you put not just my life, but the lives of my colleagues as well in danger, because we don't know who's out there. The people who are leaving these voicemails that are saying we are taking up arms, coming to the Capitol to protect our country from a terrorist, are not, people that we should dismiss. They're not joking. And I think it's important for us to say this kind of language, this kind of hate cannot be condoned by the House of Representatives. And we should punish and sanction Boebert by stripping her of her committees, by rebuking her language, by doing everything that we can to send a clear and decisive message to the American public that if the Republicans are not going to be adults and condemn this, that we are going to do that.
Do you think Speaker Pelosi is going to do that, have a vote at least to strip Boebert her committee assignments?
I've had a conversation with this speaker, and I'm very confident that she will take a decisive action next week. As you know, when I first got to Congress, I was worried that I wasn't going to be allowed to be sworn in because there was a ban on the hijab. She promised me that she'd take care of it. She fulfilled that promise. She's made another promise to me that she will take care of this, and I believe her.
So we should note, as you just did, this isn't just about hurt feelings, not that that is a small thing. This is about incitement, and you recently shared a voicemail message that you got, and with your permission, I'd like to play that because it's important that people understand why you are so concerned. Let's roll that tape if we can.
Come get Muslim piece of you jihadist. We know what you are. You're a traitor. You will not live much longer. I can almost guarantee you that.
I mean, that is chilling and upsetting to hear. How many threats like that have you received? Do you genuinely feel for your life because of the hate campaign from Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, and others?
Yeah, we receive too many to count. And, there is a general fear that I have, my staff has, and the community at large has. We, constantly hear from so many people across the country where their children's hijabs have been pulled off. My own daughters have experienced this. I have experienced it as a young person in this country. And we know what this kind of language that this member is using leads to. And we know that the kind of man who leaves that voicemail for a member of Congress is not going to spare a young Muslim girl when he sees her taking the bus or walking home from school, or when he runs into her at the grocery store. And so we have a responsibility as leaders. Words matter, and words can cause violence. And she knows that the language that she's using, the audience that she's using it for, is going to incite violence against myself and my community.
Well, I can't believe that we're here in 2021 in the United States of America. I can't think of anything less American than this bigotry campaign of Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene and others, and the complicity of the leaders of the Republican Party who have not said a word. And I have nothing but sympathy and empathy for you. And we're here to bring attention to this as much as possible.
I appreciate that. It is shameful that they can't even get themselves to say, I condone this language and this behavior, and that we will condemn this language and this behavior, and that we will do better.
It is vile and it is un-American. Congresswoman,
Yes.
Thank you so much for being here and telling us your story today. They went on the lam after their teenage son allegedly opened